Okay, so welcome you guys. Can everybody hear me okay? Just want to make sure I'm not babbling and no one can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Uh-huh.
Perfect. Okay, just check in the chat. All right, welcome you guys. So I'm sure we'll have some more people trickle in, which is perfectly fine. I know it's kind of a rough week. I know for me, I feel like a shriveled old raisin, it's just it's been a long week. Not a lot of sleep, going to and fro from the ASSP conference. Of course, a lot of us were out in Anaheim. So my voice is also still hoarse from screaming at the Wise Fashion Show. Said to somebody, they probably caught me in the background looking like a howler monkey because I was just back there like hooting and hollering, but I'm still kind of like from it. So excuse that. But all right, so welcome. We're going to go through a few things today and hear from couple different committee members as well. So first we'll go through some introductions, kind of what does our next term look like because we are at the end of the 2025-2026 cycle. We'll cover a little bit about our clear values just as a nice refresher, and then we'll go through some regional updates and news, as well as look at some of the results we got from the end of year survey. So got some good stuff for you. Just trying to kind of recap, what we've been doing and what's upcoming. We've got a lot of good things going on here in Region 3, so a lot of exciting stuff to share. So excited everybody's here. Okay, let's start with a few introductions and hellos. We've got a lot of great people here in Region 3. So this is our upcoming new term slate. So 2026, 2027. So the current term is ending June 30th. So at the end of this month, then the new term starts officially July 1st. So not too many changes from what we've had. Of course, there's me. If you don't know me, my name is Abby Holovach. I'm our current Region 3 Vice President. So I'm finishing my first term. I'll be in it for two more, so 3 years. We will be starting in July 1st looking for a new Deputy Regional VP. It's been Belinda Powers, but now she's moving into her South Area Director role. So woohoo! And then also woohoo to Patricia Reed. She's been the South Area Director for a couple years now, more than just three, right, Patricia? But she's still with
Yeah.
us.
I
How many
am.
has it been?
I think I finished, was it Matt's term? So it was
Yeah.
like a year and a half, and then I did my own 3 years. So yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Exciting, exciting.
Yep. But of course, she's like I said, she's still going to be with us, the collegiate student engagement role. So a lot of good things going on there. Current North Area Director is Keitha. We have our VP of Communications, Rachel, Student Affairs, Jeannie, and then IDEA, which we'll talk about in a little bit and what that is. We have Miss Jennifer. And then, of course, I didn't update the year up there, but it's the same folks here. So, great set of dudes. So, our dudes of Region 3. So, VP of Professional Development, we got Stan. Government Affairs is Dustin. Jaron is our treasurer. So, we'll hear from Jaron in a little bit. And then Jeffrey is our PDC co chair. Belinda is currently the chair. I didn't have that on the first slide. And then, of course, Lynn, Awards and Honors and Chapter Affairs. So, we've got a powerhouse. We've got a lot of great folks. But as we'll talk about, if you're interested in volunteering at a regional level, there's always room for more. So we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. Just to give you a visual, so this is how Region 3 is broken up if you're not familiar. So we do have 13 chapters. So our North area and our South area. So Keitha supports our North area presidents. So Arkansas, East Texas, Fort Worth, OKC, South Plains, Southwest, which is essentially Dallas, and then Tulsa. And then Belinda will start to support in our new term starting July. Patricia's finishing up the South area. So Central Texas, Coastal Bend, Gulf Coast, Permian Basin, Sabine Neches, and South Texas. So we got a little bit of something for everybody. And there it is visually, the breakdown of how our region is spread out. So, like we said, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. All right, like I'd mentioned though, this term officially ends July 30th. And this is when the chapters have to submit their CompTs, the chapter operational management tool. So there, for those of you who are on the call who are not familiar with kind of maybe the inner workings at the chapter level, this right here is what shapes the chapter and everything that they're doing, or this is how they document it and track it. And they actually get points for it, which helps them get to, for example, platinum level. So, this is a tool that helps guide chapter plan annual activities, track their performance, share their successes and challenges. So it helps them plan, it helps them feedback and report, and it helps with, like we said, chapter recognition. So this is what all of your chapter leaders are working on throughout the year. And so they feel a little bit of, pressure trying to get this in on some certain due dates and timelines, but they've been rocking it out here in Region 3. So I'm, pretty excited for wrapping this year up in terms of just the success that we've seen. So to give you a sneak peek, this is just kind of a screenshot of a few of the chapter requirements. And so the types of things that they are reporting on. Again, if you're not familiar, just kind of gives you some context what goes on in the background at chapter level. So for example, did your chapter nominate and elect chapter officers and advisory group members according to chapter bylaws? So they have to report on that following certain guidelines and indicate yes. They're also required to update their website every 90 days, so quarterly. So there is a certain time frames here when they have to update their chapter website. So we want to keep things current. So you can see there they get points for each quarter. What other activities and actions does your chapter take to ensure the website is up to date and in communication in general? And so they get points for that as well. So you can see everything that they're doing for membership is documented within this form. I was just going to check the chat real quick. What do we got going on in here? Yeah, known as Platinum Region for a reason. Yes, we do. Fingers crossed, but everybody's looking like they're going to be hitting that mark. So, like I said, you guys are rocking it out here in Region 3. Also, what other practices does your chapter follow when communicating with members? So how are they doing that? Are they attending regional operating committee meetings? We also call them ROC meetings. We do those in person twice a year. And here in Region 3, we've also been doing them virtually as well, peppering those in just to kind of add some additional communication, but they are required to attend at least two, or at least one per year. But I'm breathing down their neck for them to attend all of them. But they get points for that as well. Again, that's where we can all come together and collaborate as a region and provide feedback and communication. So it's a really great team effort there. Also talking about what types of meetings did they have? What types of actions do they take to improve leadership and their leadership ability? Again, questions about the meetings. Are they doing them virtually? Are they doing them in person? What are they doing to help members develop their leadership skills, attain CEUs? So you can see how this is essentially the diary and biography of the chapter's term and everything they did the whole year. So this is what your chapter leaders are doing throughout the season, is inputting all of this into this form digitally. And then at the very end of the year, so here we come, due June 30th, it adds up all of these points, and then it tells them what their chapter level of recognition is going to be based upon how much they've done throughout the season, so throughout their term. And in this case, this was from the East Texas chapter, so they're looking pretty good, looking platinum. So there they go. You can see the total points at a 10,110. So they're rocking it out. Like I said, Region 3 is amazing. Always, never ceases to amaze. But just wanted to give you guys kind of some background into what's happening behind the scenes within Region 3. All right. So let me cover just very briefly ASSP's clear values. So this, of course, drives everything we do, not only within the organization, but also just as volunteer leaders in general. So touching on ASSP strategic plan. So this is 2023 to, I can't remember the date and the Zoom thing's over it. Oh, 2028 makes sense. 5 years. So our mission, of course, we're the community that protects people, property, and the environment. Our mission reflects our role as the guardians of the workplace, and our ultimate goal is to have all workers return home to their loved ones safe, healthy, and well each day. So our vision is that safety and health and well-being are inherent rights of every worker. Our vision is an ideal to which we aspire, recognizing that this work requires collaboration with regulatory bodies, businesses, and non-governmental organizations, as well as our community of safety and health professionals. So a lot of what we talked about this week, of course, if you were in attendance at Anaheim, but here in Region 3, we've also been doing some webinars on clear values. Like we just recently did one with Mary Beth Anderson a few months ago, or what was last month? Time's all a blur. But we very recently just did a webinar on this with some society level ASSP folks as well. So we're really trying to emphasize this, again, making it part of our day to day and how we function as chapter leaders, regional leaders, wherever we may be, and just at work. So it's helping guide our behavior, our decisions, and our actions. So community, leadership, excellence, accountability, and respect. So all with the goal of commitment to community and continued excellence. So something definitely to incorporate at the chapter level and throughout. Okay, so let's move into some chapter, or excuse me, I keep folks saying chapter, Region 3 updates and news. We've got a lot going on here in Region 3, and we're going to hear some from our different committee members to kind of share where we're at with some of the different projects, events, and committees. So to start out, if you did attend Safety 2026 this week, we do want your photos if you feel comfortable sharing them. That's my email right there, or if you're connected with me on LinkedIn or Region 3 on LinkedIn, feel free to message your photos there as well. We're just going to kind of create just like a little conglomerate of, attendance show out from Region 3. So if you feel comfortable sharing your photos, like I said, you can email me or you can message the region or myself on LinkedIn, and we'll compile all those and, just kind of show our turnout. So I know we had a pretty big group in general. This is just a few of the folks who showed up. We had a little lunch of a few of the leaders from Region 3 who were there. Of course, there were many more who are out doing all the things. But yeah, share your photos if you feel comfortable. We'd love to see them and include them. Okay, so exciting. We do have our new North Texas WISE chapter. So very fresh, new as this beginning of this year. And they're really kicking it off with a bang. So Jeannie, are you on here? Do you want to kind of give them
Yeah,
a blurb about what you guys have going on and what kind of the future holds?
absolutely. Thanks. Thanks, Abby. So we're
Yeah.
really excited about the North Texas chapter. This has been something that I think a lot of people were thinking about for a long time. So it's part of both the Southwest chapter and the Fort Worth chapter. So we're representing North Texas. We have kind of started off with a bang. We've obviously been attending the kind of like, for lack of a better term, society meetings and really coming up to speed. We spent a lot of time putting together sort of it's more or less four of us who are kind of getting the ball running and seeing what other successful chapters look like. So we've been doing a lot of that. We had our kickoff first initial meeting in March, and got some good attendance at that. And then we recently hosted a happy hour with Fort Worth and Southwest chapter to get some more energy going. But we're really excited. We've got a logo, we've got a LinkedIn. Our next steps are actually to do the strategy. So next week we're going to be building out our strategy using basically the same thing as what a COMT would be. We'll have one for the WISE chapter, to really just try to figure out ways to get you guys engaged. And one thing that's really a misconception and that we're trying to overcome is this is for guys too. We WISE guys, we love you. And this is not just a group for the ladies. This is a group for all. And the more diversity we have within the group, the better we are. So come be a WISE guy. We've got a couple of them who've joined up, and we're super excited because it's the only way we can get better is if we have truly collaborative, diverse group. And so more stuff will be coming out. We're, like I said, building strategy, building our engagements. We're looking at lunch and learns. We're looking at mentoring, obviously, but also just continuing to be involved. One thing, and I know Abby, you're going to get me that, is we'd like to do a happy hour with other WISE chapters within our region. So we're looking at that for the PDC. So Jennifer, I see that. I was going to be reaching out to you because we'd love to get together and get the WISE groups together down in San Antonio. So be on the lookout for an email from me, because we really want to put a bang out there, but also get connected with the other WISE chapters. So thanks, Abby. Appreciate the chance.
Abby, Jeannie, I just have to ask, what chapter? How does WISE become a chapter? Are you sanctioned by ASSP?
Yeah, there's WISE. So there's it's a subcommittee. So we're actually called like Chapter WISE, but we are connected with Fort Worth chapter and Southwest chapter. So it's kind of a unique situation. Yeah.
So usually a chapter becomes a chapter when they petition the region to become a chapter. We tried this in Gulf Coast, and society was pretty quick to let us know that like Wise buys that
Well, there's
they're communities,
subcommittees.
but
Yeah.
they're not a chapter. They don't even fall underneath the chapter direction. So I'll take it offline and figure it out.
Well,
But I'm
they're not technically chapters, they're
Okay.
subcommittees, but it's called like chapter wise.
Right.
So yeah.
yeah.
It's
Okay.
like Jared and Jeannie, just to jump in, it's like it used to be called the local level initiative,
Yeah.
or yeah, so it's like a chapter wise representative, but it's not a chapter. It's
It's
just
not its own chapter.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
Oh,
we
yep.
filled
that's
out
what.
a form and everything and sent it in, and it went through all the approval steps, and so
Yeah.
yeah, they
So where do you get your bank account? Like what? So I guess the chapter is funding the Wise efforts.
Yes. So we have basically we have to go through obviously approval. So we went with Domini and all of them to get approval at the higher level. Um, there's lots of different, I'm calling them chapters, but basically they're associated. So Sacramento has one, Boston has one, Ohio, South Central Ohio, I think, has one. They're all over there. We are funded through Fort Worth and Southwest. So we have a governance that we have to follow. We have to submit for approvals in things like we're buying a banner. And so we have to submit that to presidents to those respective leadership teams for approvals. But we're putting together a budget. We're doing all these different things, and we're functioning. It is a subcommittee. It's not its own chapter, but it is called Chapter Wise, so North Texas Chapter Wise. But we are a subset of Southwest Chapter and Fort Worth Chapter, and we do have to go through approval. You can't just
Yeah.
one day just say, "Hey, we're North Texas," but you
Yeah,
got to.
that's kind of what was going on. People are just saying, "Yeah, we're going to be Wise. We're going to be a chapter Wise," and they're just doing it. We had some issues and at other chapters as well with different groups. Construction group doing it. Going and getting a bank account, which they weren't authorized to do underneath
No,
ASSP
no.
name. Yeah, it's a there's a lot to it. So this is the first I've heard of it. So I'm kind of shocked all this has gone on. I hadn't heard it. It's probably my fault for
Yeah,
not.
I can walk you through it, Jaron. It's actually not it's not real difficult as long as you get linked up with the right people and you
Mhm.
submit, like we had to file basically what is similar ComT this year saying what we had accomplished, because you still do get recognition, just like a chapter would get recognition, platinum, all that stuff. So you do
Mhm.
submit. It's very structured actually, but you do have a little bit of leverage in things like how you're going to frame out your leadership team. That's not set at this point. So you can have a president, secretary, and all that stuff. But right now we're just basically using a group of four leaders. Two of us kind of take a little bit more of the leadership role in making sure meetings happen. We really have a secretary, but it's comms, etc. So we're kind of treating it just like a chapter.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have enough problems finding people to lead at the chapter level. I don't think we could get a whole another group going. It's a struggle. So hats off to you.
Yeah, well, if anybody has any, questions about how they did that, Jeannie would be a great person to reach out to, if you're interested, anybody else on the call, so that's awesome. And make sure you guys follow them on LinkedIn. So their page right there is screenshotted, obviously. So just give you some opportunity to track and follow everything they got going on. Okay, so another new initiative that not newish, but we're really trying to kind of bust it out of its cage here and get it rocking and rolling under Jennifer is the IDEA program. So inclusivity, diversity, equity, and accessibility. Taurus today is Juneteenth, so wanted to make sure that was included in there. So there we go. Jennifer, do you have any words you want to say about IDEA program?
Of course. Thank you, Abby. So as Abby mentioned, I'm Jennifer Sue. I'm currently the AR VP of IDEA. We've been in existence, me, myself, and I, for the past few years, but we really were trying to get things kicked off this term with Abby at the helm. Thanks to Matt for kind of creating this opportunity for us. Matt Heron, that is. But as mentioned, Abby also mentioned, so Region 3 Idea Strategic Plan, we actually officially launched in May with a presentation by Mary Beth Anderson, The presentation was called Professional Conduct and Clear Values, Upholding Ethical Behavior in ASSP. And as we move into this coming chapter year, we will continue to offer those educational opportunities to expand on inclusivity, diversity, equity, and accessibility, and to share with others on what that actually means. And equally important, however, we want to make sure that we hear directly from our chapters. So if chapter attendance and participation are a measure of engagement, we know that these barriers exist to the participation. So we want to better understand what your experiences are. To do so, we're going to be distributing surveys and hosting virtual and in-person discussions with chapter leaders and members throughout the year. Our long-term goal is really to develop some practical guidance and help chapters create accessible, inclusive, and of course, psychologically safe environments, both for in-person and virtual attendees. This is a multi-year effort, so we welcome anyone who's interested in contributing to reach out and get involved. We already have some really great initiatives in the works, such as, that North Texas chapter wise. I mean, we've been doing Central Texas chapter wise for the past few years. It kind of fell off the past couple, but it is important that, we communicate the reality, which is that, we want to work together, we want to collaborate. And sometimes we do need to focus on certain issues to make sure that we can highlight their importance, just like we do in our workplaces. Safety is important, environmental is important, health is important. They're distinct, areas, but sometimes we need to spend a little bit more time prioritizing one over another. And, if we can do that together with all this, these concepts within IDEA, then I think that we'll be much, much stronger as a region moving forward. But that's all I have. Thank you so much, Abby.
Thank you for that. Thank you, that, like you said. So expect to hear more from Jennifer on all of this in general. So we got some good stuff going on. All right. So in addition to that, we've also got two Region 3 committees. So we have our Student Leadership Conference Committee, which I'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. But we did establish a financial committee this previous term to really get things as structured as we possibly can, not only at the regional level, but also for the chapters. So Jaron is our current treasurer. So he stepped in the role in January, which really appreciate that a lot. So he's got a lot of knowledge when it comes to the financial side of things with our chapters and now at the regional level. So Jaron, if you want to go ahead and share the updates for the financial committee and kind of where things are at.
Yeah, really exciting. So we've got a group together, and it's usually the finance piece, budget piece is usually the one that scares everybody, along with the president role and others as well. But there's a lot of responsibility in the treasurer role. We are very strong in Region 3, and most of our chapters are very strong. Plenty of support financially for each group, but we've not been real organized as far as supporting each other. So Abby and I have been working very closely with the committee, number one, but number two, with the CPA we use for Region 3, and Gulf Coast also uses the CPA, but we're putting a structure together where the CPA will be able to provide services to the chapters on financial management. And what that'll look like is Region 3 is working, getting a proposal together to cover that cost for the chapters. Now, what we don't know is if there's a couple chapters that are much larger, like Gulf Coast, and they've got to file their own taxes, we'll say that'll probably be their own responsibility to cover. But for the minor chapters, the ones that are much smaller, giving them a financial resource and a CPA to keep track of everything for them, help them manage the bank accounts, flag anything that may be out of place, and then also just give some general feedback and management will be great. So Damon set the groundwork for that. I see Damon is on, and we're continuing to move forward. So I think it's going to be outstanding. And what our intent is to, at the start of every year and throughout the year, just have a 30-minute financial Q&A session with the CPA for those coming into the role. They can ask questions. They can find out what's been done in the past. We can help set a small budget, whatever it may be. that'll help them manage month to month. And then the CPA will in turn give a monthly report back to each chapter that they can use for their chapter meeting to talk about their finances. So there'll be some subset pieces, some PDC stuff, some student learning conference. All those will come in, but Region 3 is setting a budget, and we are sticking to the budget. And for those of you that were part of that, thank you. We will then see month to month how the money flows in and out. So real exciting. My goal, as I told Abby, is to do this long enough to get a how-to down and recruit 3 or 4 other people that we can get into the role and support them to be successful. So, is that good enough, Abby? I can give you some account numbers if you want as well.
No, I think that that's perfect. That was kind of
Yeah,
what I, was hoping to share with the group is that, like you said, we're really trying to not only get really structured at our level, but also at the chapter level, and then trying to explore those resources to support them. Because, the feedback I've heard from a lot of treasurers is, like you said, if they get intimidated or it's overwhelming, it's just a lot of pressure trying to deal with that on top of everything else. So to maybe
yeah.
have some external support just to verify and confirm and make sure everything's good as it should be, I think that's gonna, just be a benefit all the way around.
Yeah, I mean, and Damon will tell you too, when you're dealing with more than $10,000 transactions, it can be felony. And we have had, and Patricia's done on, and she's dealt with some things in the Gulf Coast, and she came in, had some tough things to deal with. Um, you got to keep people honest, and unfortunately, bad things happen at times, and we've got to have a way to correct that. So having a third party involved really helps us with that, and gives us the leverage to take care of it. And if somebody's watching every month, it's a lot easier to catch things going on. So 2 things we brought to the region, which is great, is number one, setting a not to exceed budget. So people usually get caught up in trying to set a specific budget. It's impossible. Things change too much. We don't know how many people are going to come to a meeting every month. So you set something that's not to exceed. And then number two, just making sure you're planning for the year with your budget money already in hand. And that's such a big deal in nonprofits. If you can plan with the money you already have, then you can sign contracts and you can do things because you have the money already. So I can tell you Region 3 is in a very strong position. We have enough money in our account right now that we can plan for the Student Leadership Conference and the PDC. And if we had no more funds coming in between now and then, we would be able to write those checks without any problems. So really a nice position to be in. We aren't waiting for money to be able to successfully execute the contracts. So hats off to all of you that have worked hard. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. No kidding. All right. Appreciate that update. So just wanted to note, if you're not already following on either our LinkedIn or checking the website regularly, please do. Of course, we do try to send out emails. I am going to try to get my own MITs into the email system versus having to send in requests just so I can ensure that they're sent out frequently as I want, versus having to ask someone else to do it, because that's kind of how the system works at this point. But I know there is a way for me to get in there and do it. So I'm going to see about doing that. That was part of some of the feedback that we'll talk about in terms of emails, the best way to, send out reminders. So we're really going to try to emphasize that on the upcoming year. But again, checking the website. So we do have this calendar under Region 3 chapter events, which shows you everything that's going on throughout the region. And a lot of these events may be virtual, so like anybody could attend them, no matter what chapter you're from. So there's a lot of resources here. Maybe you're going to be in that area that week, and maybe there's something going on that you want to attend, and then you can click on it. For example, the OKC Wise Lunch, and then you could go attend that, and there you go. So it's all at your disposal, all resources for everybody to access. So make sure you're sharing that too if you have anybody else who's interested in participating or just curious about what resources are there for them. Also, we do have a YouTube page where we will record, for example, a lot of our webinars. Like this town hall is being recorded, so we can share it out after the fact with other folks who weren't able to make it, or maybe if you want to go back and watch something again, and if you missed something. So this is just another resource that we try to provide for you guys. So make sure you subscribe to that channel. An upcoming webinar. This one is in July, so at the end of July. This one's really interesting, and I think it's something that a lot of people will find value in terms of no matter what industry you come from. So safety beyond the job site, how the energy industry can disrupt human trafficking networks. So this is Lindsay Matson from the Director of Industry Engagement for TAT, which is Truckers Against Trafficking. So she's going to be giving a presentation on, of course, human trafficking, but looking at it from a national perspective and local perspective with real world examples, case studies, and key statistics. So this kind of goes hand in hand with our IDEA initiative and beyond. I think we've all been to like a rest stop and you see the signs, that say in the bathroom about, if you're being forced against your will or you see someone else or whatever it may be. So this is again a very real world, and I think it's something that a lot of us could take something away from it, whether it applies to your work or just outside in general life. So you can register for this one now. So again, Friday, July 31st, it'll be over lunch, and I have applied for CEUs, so hopefully we'll be able to get you a little something for that too. All right, so our upcoming PDC. I know I saw Jeff. I don't know if Belinda was on. She said she was still getting her fill of Mickey Mouse, so she's still out there partying at the at the parks. Good for her. That's why I said, God bless you, girl. But Jeff, do you want to kind of give everybody an update on the PDC here? I also have just an FYI, I know you haven't seen the slides. Right after this, also our the speakers, so kind of looking at who's speaking and then also the socials. But if you just kind of want to give us a general overview first.
Happily. First off, thank you guys for being here, but coming up real soon. So if you weren't able to make it to Anaheim, the next best one would be Region 3. We are at SeaWorld this year. The great thing is the park is closed. So we do have tickets available for anyone that is registered. You can get discount tickets to go on that Saturday or Sunday. I believe part of the park is open on Sunday. But on Monday, like we'll start off. We have some great speakers. We have an opening keynote who's amazing. We're going to kick it off on Monday, like I said. We have socials both Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday night already planned coming up. We have some great speakers. Like I said, Jenny's on there. We've got Jared is actually our opening keynote. We've got Jennifer speaking. We've got Abby, Suzanne. We got several members. In addition to that, we also have, let's see, Ashley, Mary, and David Silva. So this is a two-part series for them. They did the first part last year in Tulsa. So this is the second part of their little speech. And of course, Damon's on there. We have several people that you would know. And then, of course, we have our 2-hour workshops on Wednesdays. So you'll have 4 of those. So for my people that need ethics, we've got you covered. And then, of course, we've always got Skipper and his funness. So that's great to go there. So our socials, we're gonna, like I said, Sunday, we're gonna host you there at the hotel at the courtyard, which where we are of a negotiated rate at. And then on Monday, it is the social is sponsored by Navara. And then our Tuesday social, we do have availability if anyone's looking for to be a sponsor or anything like that. We are looking for sponsors for our Tuesday social. And the biggest thing, we're definitely looking for our title sponsor. So if you have anything, if you'd like me to reach out, please feel free. You can send a message to myself or to, and I'll be happy to share my email address in the chat. So you can reach out to myself, Abby, Jared, anybody like that, and we would happily reach out to the people to be a sponsor.
And
Yeah.
hey, Abby and Jeff, just wanted to still throw it
Yes.
out there. Thank you. Great news, Jeff. So if we're still planning to do the fashion show, we had our inaugural for those on the call. It was in Tulsa. And Jeff was our MC, and I helped set it up. Well, actually, planned it, set it up, contacted exhibitors. So I need to get the list if we are wanting to do that again during our lunch break on Tuesday, right? Yeah. So if I can have the list, if you have it ready, so I can give them a minute or so to get home, from Anaheim, and then I can start reaching out to them to see who we can get to participate again.
The best person to reach out to for that list is Greg or Erica May.
Greg, okay.
They
Great.
they actually keep all that information for us.
Okay.
They're amazing. If you reach out to them and just tell them, hey, what you're wanting, they'll tell you who's already signed up, etc.
Awesome. Thank you.
Nice. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you haven't yet registered, get registered, send it to a friend. It's going to be a very unique experience. I went and toured it. You know, there's literally like dolphins swimming around you, and I mean, like, are in their tanks, but they're right there. They were real curious what I was up to. They were all coming to look. So it'll be really fun. Okay, so another big event that we'll have coming up, this is going to be in April of 2027. And we really need all hands on deck for this because we're hoping to make this a really successful event. So this is going to be our Region 3 Student Leadership Conference. We call it the SLC. So we are looking for volunteers, we're looking for sponsors, we're looking for mentors because we are going to be doing a mentorship match. And then of course, as attendees, whether they are like actual new students, young people, or they're non-traditional students, someone who's gone back to school later in life. If you're a student, ASSP member or not, they are invited to this event. So it's a $99 fee, but that covers 2 nights of their hotel, it covers their event, and it covers all their food. So this will be in downtown Fort Worth. So the bulk of the events will be on Thursday, April 8th. It's going to be at the UTA Center in Fort Worth, downtown Fort Worth. They've got a really cool setup down there. So we've got a couple different room setups where we're going to be doing things like student project displays, career panels, lightning round interview practices, resume reviews. We're hoping to do that mentorship connection opportunity, a case study competition. So we've got a lot going on that we're hoping to do during the day, as well as like I said, the diverse career panel. We'll be looking for folks to participate in that. So we're trying to give them as much hands-on real world as we possibly can, because the feedback we've gotten is they don't want to sit and be talked at the whole day because they sit in class all day and do that anyways. So again, if you're interested in volunteering, we're also looking for sponsors, those mentors. Please reach out. You can contact me or reach out, on our website or our LinkedIn. But it's going to be a really cool event. We're going to do a networking night that Thursday night, and then April that morning. We're firming up a facility tour as well. So that's kind of an optional event if they want to stick around and get to see real world, EHS in action at a facility. They'll have that option too. So it's going to be super cool. So again, though, it's going to require, kind of taking a village to get this to be as successful as we want it to be and as provide as much value to those students as we can. So excited about that. And then if you are interested in getting involved, this is just kind of a general chapter volunteer role guide. Of course, these are all approximations. These are just based off of the role descriptions coming from ASSP. And a lot of these may vary based upon, what chapter you're a part of, but kind of gives you generalizations of the different roles, the elected positions versus appointed, and kind of what your hourly, per week average looks like. So that way, if you only can dedicate, less than an hour a week, sometimes it's less than an hour a month, there's something for you. Or if you want to be more involved, you can see with, of course, an elected officer is going to be a lot more involvement. But the wide variety here gives everybody an opportunity to get involved, no matter what really capacity you have to volunteer. So the more people we have, the better. And I think that's a trend we've seen across not only Region 3, but across just ASSP in general. And I've heard it all the way around is how do we get new people involved? Like we've got to find fresh new ideas, mix it up and just really broaden the spectrum. Because I think it has been really hard on a lot of our chapter leaders who have had to, be in roles longer than they thought because they want to keep things moving, keep that momentum going. But it's going to take new volunteers, new folks. And so hopefully maybe sharing this resources with someone that who might be interested, maybe we can get them involved. Even if it is only a little bit at the beginning, it could open those doors to a lot more later for them, a lot more opportunity there. So yeah, just share this with someone that It is on our LinkedIn page. We did send out an email about it, but we can also send it to you directly if you want this graphic. Okay, so last bit I have for you guys is just kind of reviewing the general end of term membership survey. So we sent this email out a couple times and posted it on LinkedIn, and we got, I think, a little over 20 different responses, which, I mean, we've got couple thousand members in Region 3, so that was, not that great, but it's better than nothing. So really appreciate those who did come and leave comments and feedback, because this is how we figure out what can we work on, what can we do better. So general trends that we saw. So what members want more of. So we saw specific requests for technical and educational content. So we're trying to continue that as well from the regional level, with a lot of our webinars we've been doing. Keep in mind, a lot of these pieces of feedback, I think some people were directing them more so at their chapter level versus regional. So we got a little bit of both perspectives, but it's good takeaways and things we'll be talking about with our chapter leaders anyways. So industry specific presentations. They want practical real world safety and health topics. They want professional development opportunities. So more of those CEU opportunities. So that'll be something we try to hit on with our new leadership going in the new term, is getting those CEUs ahead of time in sessions that provide that immediate workplace value. So networking is important, but the members want stronger educational takeaways and content they can directly apply, which makes sense. Now, when we asked what kind of event, venue did they prefer, in person, hybrid versus virtual, it was pretty mixed split between in person versus hybrid. Of course, you did have a, percentage that also requested just virtual only. So that just indicates to me that'll be something else we work on with the chapters, is how can we offer that hybrid event? I know we've done it like with the chapter I'm a part of, a Southwest chapter. It can be a little bit cumbersome sometimes depending on the venue, but I think it's definitely worth exploring in terms of, how do we make that easier for the chapter leaders to do it? And that maybe will, encourage it to be more widespread. And then maybe we can pull in more of these people in attendance. So people value face-to-face networking, but they definitely still want that flexibility, because as we saw on that map, we're pretty widespread and sometimes people just can't make these meetings. We asked some questions specifically about communication. And email remains the preferred communication channel. We had some people say they don't regularly interact with social media. So of course, if we're posting things on LinkedIn, they're not going to see it. They want to make sure that updates are timely. So that's why I mentioned earlier, that's one of my personal to-dos actually after this meeting, is to send that request in to make sure I've got access to the email account, as does Rachel, our VP of Communications. So if we both want to go in there and send, like, if I want to send an email in the morning, I can just go ahead and take care of that versus having to send in the request. I can do that at the chapter level. I just need to get in there at the regional level. So hopefully going into this new cycle, you'll see more emails, which some people are like, oh God, not more emails. But that was the feedback we received. And so within reason, again, we'll make sure it's timely. So we'll keep using social media, but we're going to prioritize email as our main communication tool. Some opportunities for growth. So some feedback we got here about accessibility and participation. So a few barriers identified: meeting locations are inconvenient. Work schedules can conflict with the events, and some members would benefit from virtual attendance. And I can say, from being in the chapter level, we're never going to make everybody happy. It's very hard. Like, I've been in situations where we've tried to switch it up from lunch to afternoon, or from afternoon to morning. And you'll get some people, but then you're missing a whole chunk of others. So I think maybe mixing it up in general throughout the chapter year could be beneficial. So those will be things we talk about at the chapter level as well. So some suggestions we got: continue offering hybrid meeting options, rotate meeting locations. So, maybe throughout their chapter area, they pick different locations, especially if they are really spread out. Again, make it a little easier for different parts of the chapter to participate. And then we did have some specific topics that folks requested to see in terms of, meeting content: lithium ion battery safety, AI, PSM, psychological safety, emerging industry trends. So like we said, we're definitely going to share this with our chapter leaders so they can try to target some of these requested areas. The overall takeaway, so from all the feedback we got, I think it was like 24 responses. It was constructive. It was forward looking. So some positive things we heard, was the engagement, the additional communication, so strong communication and outreach, greater accessibility to events. We have been trying to connect different chapters, different organizations together, so a lot more widespread of, events and CEU opportunities. And so we're really going to try to target more technical and educational value with that additional option for virtual. So the bottom line here, members wanted Region 3 and the chapters to remain a strong networking organization, still provide that opportunity, but continuing to expand the role and as the source of professional development, technical knowledge, and practical resources. So we'll take this feedback and we're going to try to integrate it as much as we can into our new year planning. Of course, we're always open to feedback. Please never be afraid to reach out if you see something that maybe could be worked on or something you've enjoyed. Please share that feedback. I would much rather hear it directly from you than never hear it at all. And then someone's not happy about a situation, or maybe they are happy and someone does deserve kudos. So just pass those things along. We'd love to hear it. It's not going to upset anyone. All of our goal here is to make things as, the best it possibly can be. And with that, that's all I've got. So does anybody have any comments, any questions, anything else they want to throw out there?
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. I was trying to
Oh,
see you. I can't see who's talking for some reason.
no, you're fine. I can go on camera for a second. Hi everyone, I'm Terry Bateman. I'm new to the chapter with ASSP, and I just wanted to know like who should we reach out to volunteer? Because I would love to participate and volunteer some of my time for the chapter in the region overall
Yeah,
if I can. So I just
absolutely. Well, what I'll do is I'm going to drop just my direct email in the chat, and that way it'll
Mhm,
come directly to me, and then I can direct you as well to your applicable chapter leaders
mhm.
directly. So just shoot me a message, and I'll get that going for you.
All right, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Anybody else got anything? Any questions?
Hey, Abby, just a good town hall, good overview. I missed the first beginning part of it, but good to hear everybody's making a good contribution.
Well, thank you. Thank you for all your contributions, Damon. That's for sure. All right. Well, like I said, this is recorded, so I am going to share it out after the fact. Of course, it'll be on our YouTube page. We'll put it on our LinkedIn, all that good stuff. So share it with somebody who might have missed the meeting that may want to see it. But again, reach out if you have questions, concerns, comments, and I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Abby. Great job.
Thank you guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.